Hello and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, people. Another video on the international break, the boring international break. But then again, we don't have to watch West Ham United, so there's the positive. But anyway, lose-lose situation. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. We are very close to 600 subscribers, and we are on the road to 1K. Lopetegui is still here. Lopetegui is still here, and today we're talking about West Ham are wasting their squad. And the full title should be "Wasted." West Ham are wasting their squad with mediocre managers, but that title was too long. Might as well just name the title as short as possible. But that's the main sentence of the whole thing. Um, Instead of surviving Lopetegui, I've named my name below my thing as "Surviving West Ham Lopetegui Edition" because it's like listening to an album, but it's just a deluxe edition. Um, Wait, put it this way, it's like, especially around 2017, 2018 times, you listen to an album, especially in rap, and it's about 25 songs long, and a deluxe edition is like 40 songs long, and it's like a 6 out of 10 album at best. That is West Ham United summed up in a music analogy. Um, I'm here to discuss West Ham and wasting their squad. We always do this. We always do this when it comes to West Ham. We always waste our squad, in my opinion. We don't always get the best out of what we have. We always talk about different intricacies and what different managers can bring to certain parts of the squad. But the truth is, if the manager has their team and they're not getting the best out of their players, you need to leave. That's why I've been Moyes out since 2022, at the end of 2022, and I said he should leave after, the cup. And that's why I've been Lopetegui out 5 games in the Premier League. Now people are going to be like, 5 games in? Yeah, it was after the Chelsea game. So if I got that right, so Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Man City, Fulham, Chelsea. So that would be 5 games in. But I'm going to tell you why. Now I'm going to present my screen quickly, and this is the lineup of last season. Now I'm going to pretty much talk to you of why West Ham wasted their squad because it's all pretty much a tactical thing, specifically with the starting 11s at hand. So this is typically the lineup that David Moyes would line up last season, and this kind of carries on from the previous manager and this manager as well. I'm not even necessarily talk about Moyes as much. I'm just giving you guys an example. Forget the squad numbers and listen. This is the closest I can get to claret as a kit color because they only have purple and pink. But this was the problem. So this would be the typical start 11. You can say Mavropanos either for even the centre backs, and you can pretty much swap around the midfielders and sometimes say Antonio up front. But Antonio at times was injured. For the most part, this was the starting 11. It was kind of interesting to see when James Ward-Prowse and Alvarez were both signed how the midfield was going to look. I thought that one of the creative players would just get benched for this midfield, this rigid midfield. But listen, I'm going to tell you why this wasn't great. Also, this was in a low block. Of course, it was under David Moyes. So this is the problem. When we have the ball, Bowen was here anyway, because obviously he's naturally a right winger, and all the strikers that are used to being played on a wing under David Moyes would drift out to the channels anyway. If you're striking as a typical target man, you kind of find yourself here with your back to goal trying to scrap with no service. If you're Antonio or Bowen, you're either on one of these channels here. Then Kudus would be here. Sufa would be here. Ward-Prowse, like, this could change either way, like Ward-Prowse or Souček. So sometimes Souček would be in the box, sometimes he wouldn't be. So sometimes it'd be around here. James Ward-Prowse would be around here. And this is my main problem with it. So Alvarez sometimes in between the centre backs here, or sometimes just going to receive the ball. Yeah, so let's bring the centre backs higher up just a second. Here's my problem with it. You know when we're trying to create, we're down the left hand side. People would talk about Paquetá on the left all the time. Yeah, I hated this. This is pretty much what it looked like sometimes, where there was no one in the box. So by the time there's a third man run, I'm trying to drag Emerson like here and Bowen here. By the time there's a third man run, there's no one in the box. Like, sometimes the closest person to the box will be Ward-Prowse on the edge. Souček may occasionally be in the box. This isn't even like me blaming any of the players, by the way. Like, even though I don't think Ward-Prowse is the level, I was wrong on Ward-Prowse. Alvarez, I'm done with. You guys know my opinion on the Czech boys already. And Paquetá hasn't been great this season. You guys know my opinion on the centre backs from last season. This is my problem. If Paquetá is going to play on the left, I wanted him like here or here sometimes as well. But that was when he was specifically on the left, he was wide left. And Emerson was over here. But Emerson should be hugging the touchline. This was the problem. Why I didn't like this so much. Let's bring it back quick. Yeah. I would have liked it to be a 4-3-3 and forget Ward-Prowse. Like, sometimes, because I'm going to get onto Ward-Prowse on the left wing in a minute. But let's say, hypothetically, this is an actual left winger. Let's say, hypothetically, it was a Maxwell Cornet. It was where I wanted Cornet to start last season. Cornet's washed now, but when he vaguely played last season, he got a goal and got an assist. And like, times he got a chance. He barely got a chance all season. But Moyes purposely wanted a small squad, so that's really on him. And he's in control of the transfers when he's at the club. The only person that started got in when he was in control was Mavropanos, because Moyes couldn't get Maguire, which is a fucking relief. But this is my problem. So when we're attacking down the left, this link up's fine, but you can still have this link up with Paquetá playing the left of a 3 and a winger helping them out, because when it's just Paquetá and Emerson, there's no runner in behind. It was just them two doing 1-2s, and sometimes it would work out, yes. But they needed a third man with them. So let's take it back real quick. Sometimes, under David Moyes, it would look like this. Ward-Prowse on the left. Ward-Prowse on the left sucks because he's a fucking midfielder, but also because the guy has no left foot anyway, so the guy was constantly cutting in over here, and he'll constantly get tracked down. And as I said, there is no balance to this. The formation was always lopsided, so sometimes Paquetá, Kudus, and Bowen would be a good trio, but they'd all have to create from here. So occasionally, like the goals against Manchester United, for example, where when we beat them 2-0 last season, and we were better than them in the game, but we had to shift it around for this to work. And even then, that's how the goal was created. Paquetá would pass the ball over here, and Bowen make the inside channel run, even though he's still playing up front. That is why we scored. That is why it worked against Wolves as well, because they swapped around and we played them on transition. Now, this could work to an extent if your defense is solid and you're sick on the counter. We was okay on the counter last season, but only really at the start of the season. But also the defenders, Zuma and Aged, fucking useless. Aged can't handle any sort of physicality, and Zuma, as much as he's a good defender on his day when he's fully fit, the guy hasn't been fully fit for a very, very long time. And he lost his knees in 2021. There's no, and you got to rely on your creativity to pretty much come from these two over here. And there's not really much progression in the midfield play anyway. And also, when the ball would go down the channels, I don't know why it keeps doing that. It would usually be from the fullbacks. Emerson will make the run and try and pass it short to Paquetá here, and he would usually lose the ball because he's on the touchline and the play becomes predictable. That's why teams play through the middle and actually have technical players that play through the middle. But when it goes for Sasufal, let's say it's Bowen, for example. We're going to put Kudus up front just for now. Let's say it's Bowen there. Bowen always wants to run him behind. He still does it now. He always wants to run him behind. So Sufal is like, okay, I'll just put the ball over there, and then we lose the play. It usually goes off the pitch, or it gets turned over. That's the difference with Wan-Bissaka now. He slows down the play. Sometimes he'll put a long pass over. He can't do it, though. So sometimes he'll slow down the play and pass it short. Now, let's get into Lopetegui's lineup, because this ain't really about Moyes. This is just about the fact that we were wasting those players. So this season is Wan-Bissaka, Tadibo, a much better squad, by the way. That's why I'm being even more harsh on Lopetegui than I am for David Moyes, because at least Moyes proved himself to have credit in the bank. I didn't like Moyes until 2021 January time. Really, to be honest with you, I was still very Moyes out until 2021, and then I was Moyes in until the end of 2022. And let's go with obviously Bowen, Paquetá, Ward-Prowse. What's it called? Paquetá would be here. Kudus would be here, and it'll be Antonio up front. Really, obviously Rodriguez or Alvarez. You could argue either or. Now, this is the problem with Lopetegui's system. Kudus is over here, for example. Yeah, we've mentioned millions of times. I've said it for about at least 3 months. Kudus is better in these positions, whether it's in the middle, being a ball carrier, driving up players, or on the right wing, cutting in. He's the one, by the way, that could hug the touchline for Wan-Bissaka to make the underlapping run. He's capable of that. But the problem is, this is how we attack. I've done this before in a stream before, but listen, the midfield, sometimes Alvarez is here, sometimes Souček up there, cool. Paquetá kind of does what he wants, really, with all the wrong reasons. Emerson, Again, this might just be an Emerson thing. But as you know, Emerson's really more the touchline nowadays. But the problem is, even if he's here, like Kudus is over here. So the problem is Kudus will face the guy 1v1. Because Kudus likes to more hug the touchline than really get in the pockets when he's on the wing. He's capable of getting in the pockets because he's naturally a number 10. A more driving with the ball sort of number 10 rather than a creative number 10. Although he is creative, but you know what I mean, like creative passer number 10. The problem is he'll square out to the defender 1v1, then he will just pass it sideways to Emerson, and then Emerson will have the crate here, and then Emerson makes the run here. And it never works because Paquetá always either underhits the ball or overhits the ball, even though he's the only one capable of even trying that pass in the squad. Now, here's the right-hand side is the big problemo. Big problemo. Wan-Bissaka is just accessing these areas over here. What sane manager like puts Wan-Bissaka inverted to put Bowen on the touchline when he's your best goal scorer in the team? You saw against Ipswich and Palace, he's in these areas. This is where the areas you want Bowen, and he can take on. I'm going to get onto it in a sec, but Wan-Bissaka going here, he's having a lot more shots than usual. Like I don't know the stats, but you can just tell. Now let's put Aaron Wan-Bissaka back there for a second, yeah. Now I thought at the start it was going to be like this. Let's say hypothetically it's Souček, yeah, over here. Hypothetically, if he wanted to play like Kudus on the left and Bone on the touchline right, I thought it was going to be like this. I thought it'd be like this. Ideally, this isn't even ideal. I put Paquetá in Souček's position and probably put Somerville in Kudus' position and Kudus in Paquetá's position. So Somerville and Kudus can roam around these positions. Emerson can be a bit further back offering overlaps. And Kudus can be in his natural position. Now, this would be fine because Bowen on the touchline here is fine because he can still square up 1v1 with his defender and go on the inside or the outside to shoot on goal. Quite simple. The problem is when Wan-Bissaka's there, put Wan-Bissaka back there, put everyone back. The problem when Bowen's here and he's got the ball, Wan-Bissaka's making an underlapping run. So Bowen's strictly just creating for Wan-Bissaka to make an underlapping run. Now we know Wan-Bissaka's strengths. Even Wan-Bissaka showed that some of his weaknesses are his strengths, like being on the ball. He's actually decent on the ball at West Ham because there isn't as much pressure than there is at Manchester United. He couldn't handle the pressure at being at Manchester United, but he's found a new lease of life whilst playing football. Bowen here and Wan-Bissaka inverted. Fucking hell, that's Souček. Wan-Bissaka inverted here. Completely wasting the talents, completely underusing the strengths of the squad. Now, the problem also, and I didn't get onto this, sometimes Antonio's here or here. And sometimes Bowen's covering for him when we're pressing. So when the other team have the ball, sometimes Antonio's tracking back. Because he's so far on the right anyway, when we lose the ball, he's like, I'll stay on the right, and Bowen goes up front to track back for him. That happens a lot, and that happens way too much. I first noticed that in the Fulham game, and it's happening way too much. That was when the red flag started to happen. When we have the ball again, let's go back to when we have the ball. Again, there is no one in the box. There is no one in the box. We've got similar problems to last season with a different squad, really. Kind of a similar lineup. The changes are made more to the defense, as you can see from Kilman to Debo and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But Antonio's always here or here because he's naturally a winger, not a striker. But I don't agree with people that say just play him on the wing. I've not agreed with that for about 3 years because the guy's in his 30s, you're asking him to do way more running than he should be doing. And it's unfortunate that Fulkrug isn't fit, but to be honest, he wouldn't get any service in this squad by just staying in the middle anyway. No striker does when they haven't got a proper system at West Ham. Look at Skamaka, look at Halle, etc. We always kill off strikers. We've got a love for Antonio. Antonio's probably my favourite player at all time by watching them. And it's not because of he's the best, but in terms of what he's done. But as you guys know, I don't care about sentiment. I judge players. I know people are going to say, "Oh, you don't judge players fairly with Souček." Blah 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 blah. I do, but with Antonio, I'm judging players fairly. This guy's my favorite West Ham player of all time, and I think he's done. We saw this against Everton. We saw this again in many games. I'm not saying Danny Ings is the answer either, but I'm saying you got to bring Danny Ings off the bench a lot earlier just because he's an impact player because he will stay in the middle and shoot. I don't believe Ings as a starter is the answer either. We don't really have much choice at this point in time who's to start up front. That's why when Bowen was up front against Chelsea, as much as I said it just to purely drop Antonio because how horrible he was against Fulham, it still doesn't work because Bowen isn't a striker. The problem is as well, it's the coaching. Now, if you look at this lineup and you look at the squad in general at West Ham United, then this squad isn't the greatest. It's still got its holes, but it is a top 10 squad minimum. It's a top 10 squad. And that's just the starting 11. And in my opinion, I would swap a lot of players out to make the best starting 11. But people already know what my starting 11 would be when everyone's fully fit and not suspended. Now, yes, we need better midfielders. Yes, we need a better striker. Yes, we need depth in other areas as well. However, there's not really many excuses that Lopetegui can have because he wanted two players in each position, and he's pretty much got that. He's got that. He's got two players that he wanted in each position. It's up to him to man manage, and he hasn't done that properly. He hasn't. So no one can really say anything about it. No one can really say anything about that he's not coaching the team properly. Are you getting the best out of your players? No, because we're 14th. I'm pretty sure we're 14th. We are in a relegation battle at this current moment in time. Like position wise, you're 10 games in. 10 games in, you know what kind of positions you would usually be in. We're in that. We're in that. Now the difference is, I've said this millions of times, and I know people are bored of me using the example of Aston Villa, but Aston Villa had this under Gerrard, and they got Unai Emery. That's the managerial appointment we needed to make in the summer, and that's the managerial appointment we need to make now of that caliber, not Unai Emery specifically, as I keep saying, because we are not getting Unai Emery, but I'm always going to use the Aston Villa example. I've used this example since May, so a lot of you have been here since the summer. A lot of you have been subscribed since the summer, but I've used this example ever since Lopetegui actually joined the club. So I've been saying this for time. But there you go. There you go. We are wasting this squad, and it's kind of sad to see talented players be wasted again in another season under two different managers that don't know how to use attacking players, especially in 2024. Mediocre managers. One being shit doesn't make the other one better. So stop arguing on your Twitter accounts about which one is better. First of all, David Moyes is definitely better than Lopetegui, but that's not saying much because I'm better than Lopetegui. You're better than Lopetegui. Anyway, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. And an email for the inquiries. We've got a Q&A on Friday, so put your questions in the community page above. Well, on a community page on the channel. Or come and ask a question live at 8 p.m. on a Friday as well. I'll try and bring you another upload on Thursday. We'll try and keep the content going. Might have a darts watch along on Saturday or Sunday. Probably Sunday for the final. But anyway, road to 1K subscribers, nearly on 600. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.